Namaste, my beautiful friends. Welcome to Yoga Bliss with Shelly, and I am Shelly. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 5 must-have yoga props. If you have been following with me, you will know that I'm a huge advocate for props. They just really help aid in our yoga practice because it's a practice, it's not a perfect, and every day is different. So let us just jump right in here. My first huge recommendation for 5 yoga props that I can't live without is a yoga mat. And yoga mats come in all different, not different shapes. They're just different colors and different textures. I strongly recommend a yoga mat, because it creates this sacred place for us to practice on. And I know when I first started my practice, I would just go wherever, on the living room floor, on the hard floors. But there really is something about, it's like that mind and body connection, and it's like carving these neural pathways that when I'm on this mat, it's my practice and I know that it's going to be time for me. And there's all different kinds of mats, and there's all different brands and all different price ranges. And when I first started, I actually had one of my really good girlfriends gave me my first yoga mat, and I was so grateful for it. And I've progressed over the years. There's different kinds. Let's check this out. We're gonna get up close and personal. So this mat has more of these bumpy edges. This one is not my favorite mat. My hands definitely slip more off of it. This one right here that I have is a recycled vegetable yoga mat. And if you can really see the grains on it, it just, when you're doing like say downward facing dogs, hand balancing poses like a crow, it really helps you stay on the mat. And this is actually a Maji Sports. I got it actually for only like 30 bucks at this place called Sierra Trading Post, which is now Sierra, and they have great discounts on things like this. So I definitely recommend, if you want to begin a new yoga practice or just have a good practice, get yourself a mat that you can connect with. And I've had this for 3 years now. I actually had it before I started my yoga teacher training. So me and this mat, we go way, way back. We've got some history together. So that's my number 1 must-have prop for a yoga practice. My second must-have yoga prop I'm going to say is going to be a bolster or a meditation cushion or a pillow or a couch pillow. I did my practice for years with just couch pillows, and those work great. This actually, my same amazing girlfriend who gave me my first yoga mat, her name is Melody, shout out to Melody, I love my beautiful friend. And this has these very special little peas. They're not even peas, they're like these little magic beans. Oh, and they're actually kind of exploding, so you can see. It's actually really neat. They're these little like grains, and it's really pliable and movable for the body. So when you're in a seated position, when you're doing meditation, you can actually get this under your sit bones, and you can really allow it to take the shape and the form of your booty. And again, these can be all different prices. I don't know, this was a gift. And this brand is called Seat of Your Soul. So I would say that you don't have to go for any specific brands. And yes, pillows work, but this is nice too because see, it has that nice shaping of the booty. So you can get your sit bones all nice in there. And you can also use this in restorative practices. Bolsters are also really nice. They're more of like the big rectangular shape. I personally don't own a bolster. I would love one. I just haven't gotten around to getting one, and I will use couch cushions, which is really good in our restorative yoga practices that are like the resting and the replenishing and helping find more mobility and flexibility in the body, which is great. But also they're awesome for meditation practices and for breathwork practices. So that is my number two must-have is a cushion, bolster, pillow, those things. So our number 3 is Mr. Joy is actually laying on it. Da, 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 da. Excuse me, Joy. Joy wants to lay on it. Is going to be a blanket. And I know a lot of people have those more tribal blankets. I just go for my good old favorite couch blankets. I usually will either do my practice in my living room or down in my basement. This is going to be great also, so you can pair this if you're in a meditative practice, which is what I did in my yoga teacher training because we had to do a lot of meditations for lots of time. So you can actually get your blanket laid out really nicely. And if you're doing a breath work or meditative practice and you don't have your mat, you can take your bolster, your meditation cushion, or your pillow and your blanket, and you make this nice space, and you can find your seat, your sukhasana, your crisscross apasana, and this is great for that. Also, blankets work wonders for the joints because every day is a different practice, so we can use our blankets for support of our knee joints, right? And even I have this fluffy rug, and sometimes I like to use the blanket because it supports the knee joints. You can also roll up the blanket if you're doing like a supported, seated forward fold, and you can fold your blanket up nicely and get it under your knees, and you can go forward. You can also use folded blankets as well as pillows if you're doing like a supported butterfly, and you can have blankets and pillows underneath of here. There's so many different uses for blankets as a prop that are really helpful, and especially in a shavasana, it's the laying pose of surrender. You can use your pillow, your number 1 yoga mat, and you can use your blanket, of course, for comfort, because in shavasana, it's when the mind is going crazy, so you can use your blanket as a cozy blanket. So definitely a blanket would be my number 3 must-haves of yoga props. And I like to just use a nice couch personal size blanket, not too big of one, because otherwise it just gets too messy and all over the place, and I like to keep it tidy and organized. So we've got number 1 is our mat, 2 is our meditation cushion, pillow, or bolster, 3 is our lovely blanket, 4 is going to be block. So I started my practice with cork block. I love cork blocks, are awesome because you can do more, you can put more weight on them and they're more supportive. I do also enjoy myself a nice foamy block too, and I have 1 of each. I don't have 2 of each of these. That would be great if I did. So definitely there's times where I'm creating more flexibility in my practice, because these are great for if you're doing, say you're coming up for a supported pose, maybe you're doing like a runner's lunge down here, and you can use this for your hands. So it's really helpful in the hands. There's so many different things that we can do with our blocks. We can also use them in the supported variations of, say, the supported variation of the butterfly, or, which I love, is the half moon. It's really helpful if you're going into a half moon and you want to come down and you aren't quite to a space where you can touch the earth all the way. You can also use them for standing positions. Like if we're doing like an extended side angle, it's really helpful here. Also, it's very helpful in trikonasana in a triangle where we're hinging forward, and we can use our block right here because, again, yoga is a practice. It's not a perfect, and these blocks are super helpful. And I've even taken a class from a dear friend in my yoga teacher training, and our whole class was using props, and we just used the prop when we were forward folding or when we were going into our warrior 1, and it was to help when you're having a crazy mind. You can use your block as your focal point and a touch point also, so it's very helpful. Or say a forward fold, right? And again, so these cork blocks are going to be really helpful. Like you can even use them for poses like if you're standing and you want to come into like a crow, you can stand and kind of come down, and you can be in your crow, and you can come up from your crow here. Whereas these foam blocks are not going to be as trustworthy or supportive for your body as the Cork is. So it's just a preference thing, and I personally like variety. So I like to have both. And these can come in all different ranges. You can spend anywhere from $5 to $100. You know, it depends on where you're shopping and what you're doing. And of course I got this one because it has this lovely lotus. And then my puppy, Joy, who's not a puppy anymore, he's chewed some nice holes in it, but it still works great. So I hold on to it. And so that would definitely be, blocks would be my number 4 must have for a yoga practice. And then let's go with number 5 is going to be a strap. Da 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 da. This is just a traditional exercise strap. You can get a yoga strap. Yoga straps can be good, but they can also be really confusing. I remember the first time I had a yoga strap and I was trying to loop the buckle and then it kept hurting my foot when I was putting it on my foot. So this one is lovely. I don't even know the brand. This was just an Amazon find, and it has 2 handles here and here, ding, 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 and it has all of these different little loops for your feet. So depending on what you're doing, this is great for things like putting your feet and stretching long. If you're having limited mobility and you want to do some laying poses and you want to lay on your back and you can bring your feet up, this one's great because it has these loops and you can extend your feet out wide, if I can get it, and you can do like an imaginary legs up the wall or a happy baby. So it's really great to just have different props to help us in our practice, or even if you're working at, you know, doing the boat pose and you're working in a boat. So this is another great pose or another great useful tool, my friends. So I hope that these have helped you. Our 5 different pop props are yoga mat, our pillow bolster, blanket, blocks, and at last our yoga strap. And my lovely friends, the bonus prop that I wanted to add, I don't know if you would call it a prop as much, it would be the 6th one that I would recommend, is a mala. And a mala is just it's a lovely string that helps us in our meditative practice. It's great for mantraing, or I was on a huge mantra kick for a very long time, and now I honestly just wear them because they have good vibes, they have good energy, and they can soak up the negative energy around you, and they have amazing healing properties. And every different mala, string of mala, is different. So this is like a smaller mala, which I like. This one comes more meeting at the heart, and I have ones that meet at the navel. And I really love having the energy of a mala with me during my practice, on the mat and off of the mat, my friends. So thank you so much for joining me today in all of these props that I cannot live without, because I know that when we're first starting something, it might sound like a lot to have these things, but they really make it a better practice, and they make it more natural, and they make it more smooth and fluid. So I love you. I'm grateful for you. Namaste, my beauties.